Today we're going to be going under the hood, well technically under the body of the Ram 1500, and we're going to be transforming it with Fulcrum Suspensions Fox lift kits that are available for these models. And I'll show you exactly what you'll get in the Fox lift kits and how they'll improve the performance and ride quality of your Ram 1500. We're featuring Patriot Games' DT Ram 1500 in this video because when it comes to pushing their vehicles to the absolute limits, no one does it better than these guys. If you didn't know already, Fulcrum Suspensions is an authorized Fox distributor in Australia, proudly bringing you access to Fox's world-renowned performance shocks. And as a trusted partner, we're committed to providing Australian drivers with the very best in suspension technology and support. Now let's take a step back for a second. Why is upgrading your suspension so important? Well, your suspension does a lot more than just soak up your bumps. It affects how your car handles, how it brakes, and even how your tires wear. And with stock suspension, you're limited on how much you can tow safely, how far you can push your vehicle off-road, and also how comfortable the vehicle is. And that's why with a performance kit like this, you're not upgrading just one area of your vehicle, you're upgrading your whole entire driving experience. So what's the lineup like for the Ram 1500 from Fox? So to start off with the DT Ram, you're going to get these Fox Performance Elite shocks. Now these are 2.5-inch shocks, and they're going to be your heavy hitters for shock performance and suspension performance overall. You're also going to get upper control arms from Super Pro. Now these are included in the kit because you are going to be required to have upper control arms when you're using these front struts, and that's just something that Fox has specified. So we've just decided to throw in the upper control arms into the kit to ensure that everyone gets the correct upper control arms with their Fox shocks. Now you're also going to get these heavy duty rear springs, and they're going to help increase that consistent load handling compared to the factory springs. Now for the DS Ram, you're going to be getting these Fox Factory Race Series 2.5-inch shocks. Now these are also some heavy hitters in that performance space. These are pretty much nearly the top of the line sort of shocks you can get from Fox. And with that, you're going to also get some heavy duty upgraded rear coils to once again improve that consistent load handling. Now it's also important to note that with the DS Ram kits, we don't include upper control arms as standard because Fox hasn't specified that they're required with the front struts. However, we still do highly recommend you get the upper control arms just to help correct that geometry and alignment after you do install the kits. Now you can get those upper control arms as an optional extra with any of the DS kits. So just make sure you either let the staff member know if you're ordering from a store, or you can check that box online if you're ordering online. Now, if you don't know about Fox, Fox has been in the suspension game since 1974, originally building shocks for motocross. And their technology is trusted in extreme conditions, all the way from desert racing in Baja to rock crawling in Moab. Fox prides itself in making high performance shocks for everything from bikes, motorcycles, ATVs, all the way to trucks. You can even find Fox shocks in some vehicles from factory, giving you that trust they know exactly what they are doing. Now let's start with the Performance Elite shocks from Fox and exactly what they're going to be offering you for your DT Ram. The Performance Elite shocks aren't just your regular shocks as well. They've been engineered directly from Fox's racing pedigree, which means you're going to get a lot of advanced features on these shocks that you wouldn't see on some lower tier upgraded shocks. Now this includes features such as a 2.5-inch hard anodized body, which means it's going to be able to stay a lot cooler for a lot longer. And if you didn't know this already, heat is the enemy of shocks. When a shock gets hot from overworking and just too much hard load or too much consistent load off-road, it's not going to perform as well, and it basically just stops doing its job, and you're going to feel that straight through the cabin into yourself. Now to also help combat the heat issue, Fox has attached reservoirs on both the front struts and a piggyback system on the rear shocks, meaning that it can hold a lot more oil and stay a lot cooler for a lot longer. So essentially these shocks are designed to be able to keep their performance for a lot longer of a period than your standard upgraded shocks. Now another great feature that you're going to get on these shocks, front and rear, is a dual speed compression adjustment. And that means you're going to be able to dial in your low speed and high speed compression. Now for an example, you might want to soften that up for highway cruising to keep a nice comfortable ride, or maybe even tighten it up to be able to help it handle around those corners a little bit better and handle those loads that you might be carrying. And then when you go off-road, you can either tighten it up if you're going to be doing some high speed sort of off-roading, or if you're going to be sort of slowing it down a little bit, going over a bit of ruts, you can soften that up and allow it to cushion up a lot more of those bumps and juts. Fox's roots in racing mean their shocks are built to handle abuse. These same technologies, like a high flow piston and redundant sealing system, are what make their Performance Elite shocks so reliable for everyday use. Now moving over to the Ram 1500 DS models Fox Factory Race Series shocks, you're going to be getting a 2.5-inch seamless steel alloy body, which is then zinc coated and double E clear coated, which means it's going to be a long lasting finish on these shocks. Now they also have an attached remote reservoir similar to the Performance Elite shocks, but as you can see, these are very large remote reservoirs, giving you that superior cooling efficiency, which is what's standard with these Fox Race Series, is that performance and that cooling efficiency to make sure that they're lasting for a long, long time. Now you're also going to be getting that dual speed compression adjustment on these shocks, meaning that you can really dial in these high performance shocks to suit whatever your needs are and your use cases. Ultimately, doesn't matter whether you have a DT RAM or a DS RAM, you're going to be getting a very high performance shock with very similar features. And these shocks are going to be able to handle anything that you throw at them. So if you're wanting a high performance shock, these are definitely something to look at. Now in terms of lift heights that you're going to expect from these kits, for the DT RAM, the front shocks are designed for 2 to 3 inches of lift, and the rear springs are a 2-inch lift. Now on the DS RAM, you're going to be getting a 2-inch lift on the front and then a 1.5-inch lift on the rear. Now both of these, the reason for the height differences is more just to help level the front to the rear, because as everyone knows, these Rams stick up quite high in the rear from factory compared to the front. So a lot of people are trying to level the front out to that rear. Now let's talk about SuperPro's upper control arms. And if you didn't know already, when you lift your vehicle, you're affecting your suspension's geometry, which is going to cause a few different issues, such as affect how your wheel alignment is, which then in turn makes it weird and feel strange through the steering and not feel correct. You're also then going to have premature tire wear because that wheel alignment is out. And that's where these upper control arms come in. They've been specifically designed to suit the lift that these kits give you, and that means they're going to return that suspension geometry back to where it should be, allowing a wheel alignment specialist to get that wheel alignment correct, which then stops any weird feeling through that steering and also stops any premature tire wear. Plus, you're also going to get these SuperPro bushes in these upper control arms, and they're a lot stronger than your OEM bushes, meaning they're going to be able to handle a lot tougher conditions without any failure or flex in them, keeping that consistent geometry. And the other really great factor about these upper control arms is they're going to allow for greater travel because they have a higher articulation ball joint. That's going to be an excellent thing because you've just bought this fancy new suspension and you're going to want the absolute most out of it. These are going to allow that extra bit of travel from those shocks, allowing you to maximize the performance you get from these excellent shocks. And finally, you've got these heavy duty rear coils. Now, these rear coils have been specifically designed to be in use with the Fox shocks, meaning that you'll get a lot more predictability and control out of your whole entire vehicle suspension. And as mentioned before, these are heavy duty rear coils, meaning that they have a higher load carrying capacity compared to your OEM springs, which does mean that if you're loading up and towing and things like that, you're not going to be bottoming out like you usually would be with the OEM springs. Now, it's also important to note that if you're someone that's wanting to get just the Fox shocks without the springs, without the upper control arms, things like that, and you're just after the shocks themselves, we do have the full range of Fox shocks available on the Fulcrum website. You don't have to get it in this particular kit. You can just get the shocks themselves and pair those up with whatever springs you'd like and whatever upper control arms you like. However, we would recommend getting the whole kit because we know this has all been designed specifically to use all together. Whereas if you sort of mix and match, you can run into compatibility issues or performance issues as they're not suited and not tuned for each other. So this is the completed kit for the DT Ram. And you're going to get 2 to 3 inches of lift on the front and 2 inches of lift on the rear with those rear coils. Now, as you can see, it's lifted it quite a nice amount. It's got a much nicer stance overall compared to the stock form, and it's going to ride great on and off-road. Doesn't matter whether you're towing, doesn't matter whether you're going off-road for camping, or just driving around the town day to day. And if you're going to be using this vehicle for towing or loading it up with camping gear, it's going to handle that weight significantly better compared to the OEM springs and suspension. So if you're ready to take your Ram 1500 to the absolute top tier level, you're going to want to get a set of these Fox shocks for your Ram. Doesn't matter whether you have a DT Ram or a DS Ram, we've got the kit for you. Head on over to the Fulcrum website where you can see the full range of Fox kits available for your vehicle, and you can then make your purchase there and elevate that performance and be able to handle anything that you throw at that Ram with these shocks.